Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask, Heidi. It is the weekend, so let's do the whole doggone thing. Saturday, the 20th day of July, International Chess Day, National Fortune Cookie Day, National Lollipop Day, also National Moon Day, National Ugly Truck Contest Day, Space Exploration Day, World Jump Day, Columbia's National Day, and National Woody Wagon Day. So all of those things. And then
Woody
Sunday.
Wagon.
Yeah, like the vehicles, the station wagons that had the wood panel on the sides of them. Remember those?
Okay.
And then Sunday the 21st, Invite an Alien to Live With You Day. Okay. Legal Drinking Age Day. Oh, because it's the 21st, I see. National Be Someone Day, National Junk Food Day, National Tug of War Tournament Day, No Pet Store Puppies Day, Take a Monkey to Lunch Day. What? And National Ice Cream Day. It's a busy weekend. All of that stuff happening. And I have a guest. Susan Seidelman is my guest. She's the author of a book called Desperately Seeking Something. We're going to chat with her all about it coming up. Charlie has Parkinson's. Recently, Charlie started wearing a bracelet from Vitatech Healing.
I'm an avid golfer, and I was going to give it up this year. I just deteriorated that much. Now I'm back to golfing, enjoying it, having a good time. I just can't stress enough how good it is.
Click on radiosavings.com to hear more of Charlie's story and find out how Vitatech Healing is helping others with ADHD, fibromyalgia, autism, and more. Plus, find radio-only savings by clicking the link at radiosavings.com. That's radiosavings.com. Now, surveys and studies and such brought to you by BetterCreditCards.com. Women who are inclined toward taller men are more likely to consider themselves attractive, according to research. From Texas A&M International University, they recruited 247 straight women for the study, which involved showing them a range of images depicting men of varying heights and shoulders to hips ratios. The women were found to consider taller men with larger shoulder to hip ratios, so like bigger muscles, to be more attractive, more masculine, more dominant, and better in fighting ability. No surprise, as men with larger shoulder to hip ratios are likely to be more broad-shouldered and have more muscly arms. What researchers did not expect to find was women who rated themselves as more attractive were more likely to say that taller men were more attractive.
Okay.
So it's kind of interesting. It's like, if I'm very conceited, then I can only see myself with somebody who is as beautiful as me. Something like that. Surveys and studies and such brought to you by BetterCreditCards.com.
It's rad. It's bad. It's 80s. The coolest rock vacation of the summer. Retromania Live. August 21st through 25th, the Mansion Theater. Starring Vince Neil, Bobby Brown, Casey and the Sunshine Band, Night Ranger, Tom Kiefer, Tiffany, Lou Graham, Pauly Shore, celebrity autograph signing, costume parties, and more. Single-day tickets on sale now at RetromaniaLive.com. Produced by Branson Star Entertainment.
Did you know? Brought to you by Genesis Gold, IRA.com. Heidi, did you know that scientists were able to take a picture of an atom's shadow? Whether you're a professional photographer or not, you know that that's impressive. This is from 2012. They used an electrical field to suspend a charged atom in a vacuum chamber. The team shot a laser beam at the atom and took a photo of the shadow it produced. Well, atoms have been photographed before. Their shadows never have, making this accomplishment unprecedented. It's kind of cool. We don't know everything, but now we know this.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen, brought to you by radiosavings.com. Netflix has revealed a first look at the cast and the set of Stranger Things Season 5. A new behind-the-scenes video hit the interwebs, and some of the locations are locations that people already knew, but there's some new places in there as well. And it's interesting because there's some people that are getting all worked up over these kids are too old now. Okay, they started this 10 years ago. So what are these kids supposed to quit growing? They're all teenagers. Of course they're going to grow up. I don't know what you were expecting. But it's been 10 years, and this is the 5th season. So Johnny Depp continues his comeback since his 2022 defamation suit victory against Amber Heard. Next up, he's going to play a gibberish-speaking puffin. So I don't know what that is exactly, but there you go. Big screen, little screen, brought to you by radiosavings.com. Charlie has Parkinson's. He started wearing a bracelet from Vitatech Healing, and he's noticed a difference, even while sleeping.
Once I got in bed, I couldn't roll over, I couldn't move. I was just whatever position I was in, just a chore to get out of bed. And now everything is so much better.
Click on radiosavings.com to hear more of Charlie's story and find out how Vitatech Healing is helping others with ADHD, fibromyalgia, autism, and more. Plus, find radio-only savings by clicking the link at radiosavings.com. That's radiosavings.com. Now your scoop of the day comes your way, courtesy of bettercreditcards.com. A study found that marrying an older man reduces a woman's lifespan, but marrying a younger man reduces it even more. So Heidi, it's like a catch-22. Apparently marrying somebody reduces a woman's lifespan. Heidi married a younger man. That's me. So it says it will reduce your lifespan even more. Probably because of all the hijinks that I bring to this relationship.
I think this is probably the other way around, though, in our lives.
Yeah, it could be. And summer. It's not all fun and games. I mean, sure it is if you're a semi-retired rich uncle who has a home on the water, wants to have you come and visit. But his family sometimes has to deal with sunburns, because too much sun can be harmful. Not to mention that it can also cause a world of hurt. And there's some tips here for medical pros about alleviating sunburn. So far, I just want to apologize. That entire paragraph could have been thrown out the window.
I was just wondering what in the world
I'm just reading the story. I'm just reading the story. It was like, hey, this is interesting about sunburns. And then I'm reading it. I'm like, why am I reading this? So let's pretend I didn't say all of that dumb stuff. And I'll get right to this. Alleviating sunburn. It says to use a soaked towel, soak it in cold water, and it'll cool down your skin. Really? You didn't know that? Over-the-counter products like aloe and ointments can actually help soothe sunburned skin. That's what they're designed for. If it's still uncomfortable, a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory medication like ibuprofen. Breaking some new ground here. If it's very severe, you might need a healthcare professional who could apply or prescribe a topical cortisol steroid.
Oh, my goodness.
Also note, it might help as skin heals to use lightweight moisturizer to rehydrate the skin, avoid thick creams and heavy clothing, which will trap in the heat. Did anyone learn anything here? Other than the fact that John will read whatever you send him. That's what I learned. Scoop of the day comes your way. Sorry. Courtesy of bettercreditcards.com.
Can your IRA or 401k stand up to the next financial crisis? By allocating a percentage of your retirement into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns. Safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Protect your retirement today with a simple phone call and receive your free gold and silver guide. Call 1-800-200-GOLD or visit genesisgoldira.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Excited to visit right now with Susan Seidelman, and she's got a brand new book out. It's called Desperately Seeking Something, a memoir about movies, mothers, and material girls. You've had a chance to do some fun things, haven't you?
I have, and I've also lived through a very interesting time period. So that, for me, has been interesting in the book to kind of reflect back to the start and the start of my career, which was actually in the mid 70s when I decided to go to film school and thought about being a director at a time when there weren't too many women doing that.
Not only did you become a director, you became an amazing director, and you brought us some movies that are some favorites for many, many people.
Thank you. I mean, you never know. It's weird looking back because you never know what's going to kind of pass the test of time or not. But it's been really interesting because recently I've gone to a few screenings of my earliest film, Smithereens, which was a very low-budget indie New York film, as well as Desperately Seeking Susan. And I've sat in the audience and seen people watch the movie for the first time, people who weren't born at the time I was making that movie.
Yeah.
And been gratified to see that they could relate to it nowadays and that they could relate to the characters.
Yeah, it still holds up all these years later, and I think that is really, really cool.
Well, it's now kind of a time capsule of a New York that no longer exists in some way. I mean, New York was very different in the late 70s, early 80s. We were coming out of a bankruptcy crisis. The city was still kind of gritty and funky and kind of dangerous in a way, but it was cheap.
Yeah.
So students and aspiring artists could afford to live in Manhattan, especially downtown. And the city was like a kind of artistic playground in some way.
The 80s were really big for you, and so were the early 90s, because the 80s, you have some huge movies that did extremely well, and then a TV series, Sex and the City, and you had a chance to do some really fun things. As you look back at that, a lot of these things are like household names. It's almost surreal that one person got to do all of that.
You don't know whether something's going to pass the test of time. For example, I did the pilot for Sex and the City. When I was sent the script, I just read it and thought it was really smart and clever and bold. You know, you hadn't seen women talking like that in a TV series before that time. And I liked that it was about women in their 30s navigating their way through, New York City. But I had no clue that it was going to become the iconic series that it went on to be. My gut told me that the script was good, the characters were good, and I wanted to make it as much about the city as it was about the characters. So, to me, I loved New York, especially, I still love New York, but especially in those days, the, 80s and 90s. I just, you can't predict those things, what's going to still work for audiences today. So
absolutely,
that was a pleasant surprise.
And you had some great teams that you had a chance to work with. In some of these movies, Madonna and Rosanna Arquette working together, and you've got Sally Fields and Brooke Shields and Meryl Streep and Roseanne Barr, and just some of these people that, again, all of these names are like household names. And you had a chance to not only work with them, you were the director. You got to tell them what to do. That's got to be kind of fun.
Yeah, well, it is kind of fun. I mean, I'm not sure I told, Meryl how to act. I mean, I think she had a handle on that side of things. But directing a movie, especially, for example, She-Devil, where I was working with two very different kinds of actresses, and it was Roseanne's first time working on a movie, maybe her only time working on a movie. But that was interesting, because when you make a movie, you're shooting it out of water, and one of the most challenging things that a director has to do is not only fully understand who the characters are, but she has to understand who they are out of order, because you might be shooting the ending in the beginning, and you're shooting, you're the director is the one that has to keep track of all those emotional arcs, I'll call them.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge and the fun part.
Well, you did an amazing job. And now you've got a book talking about this and many other fun things, Desperately Seeking Something. It's available right now. Susan, thank you so much for not just putting out the book, for taking some time to chat with us about it today as well.
Well, thank you. It was nice chatting with you.
Absolutely. Again, I've got a link to the book. It's called Desperately Seeking Something. I've got it in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com. Charlie has Parkinson's. Recently, Charlie started wearing a bracelet from Vitatech Healing.
I'm an avid golfer, and I was going to give it up this year. I just deteriorated that much. Now I'm back to golfing, enjoying it, having a good time. I just can't stress enough how good it is.
Click on radiosavings.com to hear more of Charlie's story and find out how Vitatech Healing is helping others with ADHD, fibromyalgia, autism, and more. Plus, find radio-only savings by clicking the link at radiosavings.com. That's radiosavings.com. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
NASA slang for floating excrement in space is escapees.
Ew.
So apparently that happens. I didn't know that was even a thing. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Ancient Egyptians soothed their toothaches by putting a dead mouse in their mouth. Ugh.
I think we've
talked about that.
this.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
A baby spider is called a spiderling. Oh, they sound adorable, but
That's what I call our brand new grass when it comes up. It's grasslings.
Grasslings. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Hot water freezes faster than cold water. I knew that. Did you know that?
I had heard that.
And our final fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
A small child could swim through the veins of a blue whale. So that's how big a blue whale is. A kid could literally swim through their veins.
Huh.
That is crazy when you think about that.
Yeah, that is.
So there you go. Several fun facts. Now you know. Thank you for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
It's rad. It's bad. It's 80s. The coolest rock vacation of the summer. Retromania Live. August 21st through 25th, the Mansion Theater. Starring Vince Neil. Bobby Brown, Casey and the Sunshine Band, Night Ranger, Tom Kiefer, Tiffany, Lou Graham, Pauly Shore, celebrity autograph signing, costume parties, and more. Single day tickets on sale now at RetroManiaLive.com. Produced by Branson Star Entertainment.
Time now for the Mint Mobile question of the day. It comes your way courtesy of Mintervention.com. Question for you, Heidi. 25% of people say they have no plans of ever doing this. What is it? I was in this category at one point in my life, and I changed my mind.
I don't know.
Retiring.
Oh.
Do you remember about 10 years ago, we sat down, they're like, at what age do you want to retire? And I was like, I don't ever want to retire.
Yeah, I was
I've
like,
changed my opinion.
Can I retire today?
Yes. I'm like, I want to retire now. How about now? Oh, wait, I didn't prepare. I'm never going to be able to retire. Great. All right. The Mint Mobile question of the day comes your way, courtesy of Mintervention.com. Charlie has Parkinson's. He started wearing a bracelet from Vitatech Healing, and he's noticed a difference, even while sleeping.
Once I got in bed, I couldn't roll over. I couldn't move. I was just whatever position I was in, just a chore to get out of bed. And now everything is so much better.
Click on radiosavings.com to hear more of Charlie's story and find out how Vitatech Healing is helping others with ADHD, fibromyalgia, autism, and more. Plus, find radio-only savings by clicking the link at radiosavings.com. That's radiosavings.com. Now, some weird news brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. Kenya, in 2024 Paris Olympics, a Kenyan distance runner is going to make history by competing with shoes that you spray on. Yeah. Okay. Two-time medalist Helen Orabi will be wearing a new type of running shoe from a sportswear company, On. The Cloud Boom Strike LS, or light spray model technology, works by placing a foot form on the arm of a robot as the shoe's entire upper part is sprayed on in just 3 minutes. The spray rotates the shoe, applying a material with the characteristics of both plastic and rubber, which lands as a single string that bonds to the outsole without any glue. It is then sprayed with color and cures in 3 minutes, and the shoes are ready to run. Material used is so form-fitting that athletes opt to wear the shoe with no socks. The first time Orby used them is in a competition at the Boston Marathon in April. And by the way, she won. So, yeah, the 2024 Olympics, it'll be the first time anyone has ever worn spray-on shoes, which I didn't know was a thing because it's kind of weird. I didn't know it was either. Weird news brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. Time now for the list, brought to you by BetterCreditCards.com. Real baby names that people tried to talk parents out of. It says, my next door neighbor, a maternity nurse, said a young girl who wanted her name her daughter Latrina. Once she was told what a latrine was, she goes, oh yeah, maybe something different. Yeah. A pregnant coworker proudly told me she was going to name her daughter Claire. I said, what is her middle name going to be? And she said, Annette. Clarinet. Clarinet. No. I know a girl whose last name is Cash, and her dad wanted to name her Penny. Her mother said, no. Penny Cash? No. My cousin wanted to name her baby rosacea, like the skin condition. Okay. We all talked her out of it. My dad won by telling her, please don't jinx your baby with that name. Out of fear, she pre-diagnosed her baby with rosacea. So they're like, okay, well, I better not do that. She named her Rosa instead. And Senna, S-E-N-N-A, was a brand name of a commonly used over-the-counter laxative, and somebody wanted to name her kid that. There's some more on the list that I'm not going to say on the radio. You can see them in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com.
Can your IRA or 401k stand up to the next financial crisis? By allocating a percentage of your retirement into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns. Safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Protect your retirement today with a simple phone call and receive your free gold and silver guide. Call 1-800-200-GOLD or visit genesisgoldira.com.
Time now for the quote of the day. Comes your way courtesy of radiosavings.com. Our quote today is from Jerry Seinfeld. Apparently he was on a TV show. What was that called? Was that on Seinfeld? Oh, that makes sense. Here's his quote. If every instinct you have is wrong, then the opposite would have to be right. He was probably saying that to George or Elaine or Kramer or even himself. I had never seen that show until the last episode, and now I think I've seen every episode because I loved Seinfeld. I really do like it. All right, quote of the day comes your way courtesy of radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. It comes your way, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com. Our story today, I don't know what I was going to say, is from Tennessee. A state trooper's heroic act rescued a lost dog in pouring rain. So this is really cool. There's some video, I think, of this, or certainly photos. I see photos here, but I think it's from a video. State Trooper Lance Willis became a local hero after rescuing a lost dog from a busy road during a torrential downpour. Initially believing there was a car crash due to slowing traffic, Trooper Willis was relieved to find out that, there's not an accident, but there's a dog wandering around in the middle of the road. Captured in a video posted on TikTok. See, I thought that looked like it was from a video. His swift actions were quickly gone viral. Were quickly gone viral. I think I said that wrong. Had quickly gone viral, getting widespread admiration and a lot of attention. The footage shows him pulling into the center lane and allowing the soaked and frightened dog to hop into his cruiser, ensuring the dog's safety. The video was captioned, "We need to make this human famous," and it didn't take long for that clip to touch the hearts of many. The rescued dog, Luna, was taken to PetWorks Animal Services, and a local shelter there said the owner successfully reclaimed her after the harrowing ordeal. Luna is home, safe with her owners now. They also conveyed Trooper Willis's heartfelt sentiment. He said that Luna's owner locating her was all that he had hoped for. So that's really cool.
Very cool.
It's a great story. Like I said, there's photo and there's video if you'd like to see it. I've got a link to all of that in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend.